الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى لا سيما على عبده المصطفى وآله وصحبه وكل من اكتفى اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وآله وصحبه أجمعين. In the name of Allah, and may the best of peace and blessings be in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We continue covering the best of lives, the life of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Seerah, the biography of his life sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached out all the way to this kind of argument, going back and forth with his people. They argued mainly with him in 3 points, 3 issues, 3 main issues about the mission or the Risala, about the, what else? Akhirah at all, or resurrection. They were having some difficulty understanding coming back to life after this body will vanish. We discussed these 2 points, and we discussed the first point, or the first part of the third point, which is Tawheed, or monotheism. How could you make all gods, they are used to worship more than one God, and now the Prophet ﷺ is calling them to one God. He kept discussing with them and refuting all of their arguments, and then they refused to follow, or they refused to admit, even after all of their arguments were refuted or annulled. They at the end they said, "Inna wajadna aba'ana ala umma." This is the religion, the way of our fathers, and this is how we found them, and we follow them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَفَمَنْ يَخْلُقْ كَمَنْ لَا يَخْلُقْ. They all admitted that Allah is the creator. These gods do not create nothing. So simply, very simply, do you make the one who creates like the one who does not create? You sit them as gods like the one who creates, even though you yourself, you say they do not create. So they shouldn't be equal. They should not be equal in the way you deal with them. They used to worship them. They used to make all kinds of ibadat and worship for these idols. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to say, فَادْعُوهُمْ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Call them, keep praying to them, and let them respond to you if they can. They will never respond to them. They will never have the power to get back. وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ مَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِن قِطْمِيرٍ. Those you call other than Allah, they don't even own or possess even like the membrane that's covering the seed of the palm, of the date of a palm tree. This little thing that's nothing, they do not even own it. Those you call from besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا يسمعوا, they will not hear you, they will not benefit you, they will not give you anything. لا يخلقون شيئا وهم يخلقون. They do not create nothing. They themselves are created, those you worship. أَيُشْرِكُونَ مَا لَا يَخْلُقُ. How many times we read this? Almost the same verse being repeated. They do not create, they are created. وَلَا يَسْتَطِعُونَ لَهُمْ نَصْرًا. They do not own, they do not possess to give them any victory. وَلَا هُمْ يَنْصُرُونَ. لَا يَمْلِكُونَ مَوْتًا وَلَا حَيَاةً وَلَا نُشُورًا. They do not own to give life or take life, cause death. وَلَا no resurrection. None of these characteristic of lords or of gods, of ilah, apply to them. Why do you worship them? لا يستجيبون لهم بشيء إلا كباسط كفيه إلى الماء. Excuse me. ليبلغ فاه وما هو ببالغه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end give them, or give Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam the example, those that they call besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will never respond to them. It's only like somebody is stretching his hand to water with his hands open, and he's trying to get water to his mouth. It's not going to work. It's never going to work. So these people are calling their gods or so-called gods in vain. Now, so every time they mention something and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam refuted, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Quran to refute it, but they said at the end, we just follow our fathers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّهُمْ أَلْفَوْا آبَاءَهُمْ ضَالِّينَ فَهُمْ عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ يُهْرَعُونَ. They just found their fathers going the wrong way, and they are just following them, running after them without even thinking. At the end of the day, they said, إِن نَقُولُ إِلَّا اعْتَرَاكَ بَعْضُ آلِهَتِنَا بِسُوءٍ. Just like the people before said to their prophets, now we are arguing. You give me an argument, I reply to you. When they failed, they said, we believe that the gods, our gods, just, do some harm. You have some magic, you are majnoon or something. That's how they came back. No argument, no nothing to stand against the arguments, the clear bayinat, evidences of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing. They decided to follow a different strategy. So after the strategies, they started to put down the da'wah. Number one thing, if you could remind me again, strategies they put together to destroy the da'wah at the very beginning was insulting the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba and making fun of them in every possible way. Number two, distraction of people, trying to tell people, do not even listen to him, put kutun in your ears, he will make magic to you. So, لا تسمعوا لهذا القرآن والغوا فيه, make noise. It was complete 5 years before Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was able to read the first portion of the Quran publicly out loud to the people while they are listening to him, because they cause a lot of distraction. Every time he starts to talk, they make noise, they try to stop him. The third one was the arguments and disputes and so on, and they fail, because every time they say something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the Prophet ﷺ refute that, they fail. So they have no way to go but violence. They started, taking it violent and hard against the Muslims. And these early Muslims who accepted Islam at this time were mostly the weak people, Bilal ibn Rabah, either slaves or people who not supported by big families and so on. They took somebody like Bilal ibn Rabah, the slave. He used to be a slave from the Abyssinia, from Africa, and they persecuted him, they tortured him very bad. They used to put him in his back in the middle of the summer of Arabia, summer of Mecca. Mecca right now in the winter is like the hottest of summer for us here. So in the summer in Mecca, and it's very, hot and dry and in the desert, they put him in his back, just leave him like this for hours and hours. They used to, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, his master, he used to put a robe in his neck and then give him to the little kids to play with him all day long, while he is cuffed or handcuffed like this. They used to put him and put a big rock on his back or on his chest, and he was saying nothing but his eternal word that everybody know it, even children, ahadun ahad, one. They just asking him to leave the religion and worship their gods or their idols. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, until Abu Bakr as-Siddiq one day saw him, and he negotiated with his master to buy Bilal from him. And he bought Bilal and he set him free for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abu Bakr subhanallah, he came across a lot of situations like this. It was not only Bilal. Abu Bakr was a merchant and well-to-do, and he spent a lot of money. Bilal, somebody by the name of Abu Fakiha. A lot of people like this, he used to see them, he go buy them. And when the masters knew that Abu Bakr would pay whatever amount of money, they used to ask a lot of money, and he used to pay for the sake of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Quran regarding him, وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى الَّذِي يُؤْتِي مَا لَهُ يَتَزَكَّى وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى. This Quran is being revealed, meaning that he is spending his money not to return a favor from these people to him before, he is just doing it for the sake of Allah. It was his father, Abu Quhafa, who kept telling him, why are you doing that? You're spending your money with no, without even thinking like this, but he was seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zamira, a lot of ladies like this lady by the name of Zamira, they kept torturing her until she lost her eyesight, and then they said, you see, now our idols, our gods, punish you or torture you or cause this kind of thing to you. She said, Wallahi, it's only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if He wills, He will give me back my eyesight. Next day she got back her eyesight as a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of ladies like this, they used to torture them. Ammar ibn Yasir wa Yasir wa ummuhu Sumayyah, the entire family were tortured. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pass by them and he say, "Sabran ala Yasir, be patient, the family of Yasir. فإن موعدكم الجنة." The meeting or the appointment for you is in al-Jannah, inshallah. They kept torturing them. They were for Bani Makhzum, the tribe of Abu Jahl, and they used to, the entire tribe, worship them, put them in the desert. يضعون عليهم دروع الحديد. They put, iron all around them and so on. And until, the lady was so harsh, Sumayyah, the mother of Ammar, was so harsh, أغلظت لأبي جهل, and insulted him very badly. So he فطعنها بحربة في قبولها عليه لعنة الله فقتلت. So he stabbed her with a spear in her between her thighs and her private parts, and she died as the first martyr in Islam, first shahida fil Islam. And his father as well, Yasir, he passed away because he was an old person. Ammar, they kept doing everything to him just to say something bad about Muhammad ﷺ and to say something good about their gods, and he couldn't take it because it was so hard. He mentioned some of the bad things, like insulted the Nabi ﷺ, even though his heart is full with Iman. When he came back to Nabi ﷺ, he told him it's okay as long as your heart is full with Iman. And Allah revealed the ayah, "Man kafara billahi min ba'di imanihi illa man ukriha wa qalbuhu mutma'innun bil iman." Allah gave an exception for somebody to say, the word of kufr, even if the heart is full of Iman. That's not a problem. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, even Abu Bakr, he was a merchant and good person. They used to even, do a lot of stuff for him and discriminate against him and do every possible thing they could for him. Mus'ab ibn Umayr, a person who grew up in a rich family, very well-to-do. He's not used to nothing like the other people. It was his mother who used to, torture him and kick him out of the house until, he started having a rough skin and things that he's not used to for the sake of Allah. Suhayb ibn Sinan al-Rumi, Uthman ibn Affan, his uncle used to, make fire, grab him in strips made of the nakhl or the palm trees and make fire under him until it was a dukhan, the smoke that was coming almost to hurt him, but he never abandoned Islam or so. They were all like stern and hard against all Muslims. But what would they do with the Prophet ﷺ? They would take a different path. They couldn't. He's from the noble tribe of clan of Abd Manaf, Bani Abd Manaf, Hashim ibn Abd Manaf, very noble family. They couldn't do anything to him. They will try a different strategy with the Nabi ﷺ. That's what we will know inshallah next time. بإذن الله تبارك وتعالى. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.